Welcome to Your Town. I'm Marianne Leffel. I'm your host for today. I'm president of the Monterey County Business Council, and we've got a great lineup. You're going to learn a lot about your town, so stay with us and tune in often. You never know what's going on around here in this Your Town. So today our first guest is Todd Porteous. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you, Marianne. It's always great to see you.
So Coldwell Banker, how long have you been with Coldwell Banker?
I started selling with Coldwell Banker in 2006, and just now coming up on my 4-year anniversary for managing the 7 local offices that we have on the Monterey Peninsula.
That's a pretty big span of territory and agents. How many? 130?
About 130. Yeah, it's sometimes a handful, but they're all sales professionals that are independent contractors. So I have broker supervision, but that's about it.
Okay.
But they're very well qualified.
Oh, that's great. So 7 locations. So you've really got good coverage if somebody's just interested in a certain specific neighborhood or vicinity.
We do. Yeah, one of the things now recently with the traffic, it's so hard to get around the Monterey Peninsula. We're finding that our micro economies, such as Pacific Grove, we've got 2 offices. We're opening a new office on Lighthouse, which will give us 2 to really serve that community. Tourists that come in happen to just walk in and say they'd love to buy a home in Pacific Grove. And we're opening a new location, Mid-Valley Center near the Safeway, which we think will really serve the Carmel Valley Ranch, the whole Mid-Valley marketplace, and so forth. So
I think that's a great location.
we're looking forward to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's really great. And then in addition, we have the lodge at Pebble Beach, right there in the middle of everything. And we love to have our celebrities and high net worth guests stumble into our office and shop for real estate.
Yeah. Well, like last weekend, as beautiful as it was.
Picture perfect.
It's like a realtor's dream, right?
Exactly, or Chamber of Commerce realty,
Yes.
weather, right?
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So what kind of a mix do you have with new agents and then long-term agents? Is it about 50-50 or?
It's probably about 50-50. I've got some very experienced agents and top producers that have been with the company for years, continue to do well. They're well established in the marketplace. We've got some new up-and-comers that I have one that graduated from CSUMB, and I knew him as a 21-year-old, and I said, hey, why don't you get your real estate license and come to work with us? And he's working with one of our top teams and doing fantastic. I have a great little story. He says, wow, I didn't realize I could make so much money and work so hard at the same time. So, well, it all comes, it doesn't come that easily, but he's doing great.
Well, certainly. I mean, I think a lot of people think it's something they can just kind of do when they want. And having been a banker all my life, I reviewed a lot of tax returns. Right. And a lot of people who just did it when they wanted, they might starve to death. Right. But I think the people who want it as a profession, it is a really good profession.
It really is. It's the old saying, you get out of it what you put into it. And real estate really is, it's a 7-day-a-week job. We're on call most of the time. There's always opportunities where you take your personal time, but you really need to know the market, know what's going on in the neighborhoods. Your clients could call at any time. Our Ocean Avenue office, for instance, is a little boutique office that we have one agent on at a time, and we have people that just walk in the door. I was there working on it last week as we were finishing the remodel, and a woman walks in from Pleasanton. She says, excuse me, would you help me find a condo in Carmel or Pebble Beach for up to $950? I said, absolutely, come on in. And I no longer sell, but I know the inventory, and so I set her up with one of my agents. So
that's the way it should work.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody wants to move to Monterey Peninsula, so it's a beautiful place to live.
Well, Hal and I have been helping our son and daughter-in-law find a house in Willow Glen.
Yeah, that's a hot market.
It's a very hot market. And they have a little ploy up there where they put everything on the market for like $7.99, knowing full well that it's going to go somewhere north of $9 million and maybe $1 million.
Right.
And it's just a crazy bidding war. They have those little booties that you put on your feet.
Right.
And the box of booties will be empty, and there'll be a line out to the
door.
sidewalk waiting on booties so
Right.
they can get in. It's nuts.
It is.
And but they found a 1945 totally untouched fixer-upper
Right.
with a toilet in the kitchen. I'm not kidding. Which is why I think it's still on the market. It was one of the few houses that have been on the market for over 3 weeks.
Right.
And the price dropped. So anyway.
Sounds like something I would buy.
Yeah.
A fixer-upper.
It's good. And I think it's important. Todd, I just want to, this is kind of a touchy subject, so you can tell me I don't want to talk about it, but flippers really drive up the market. Like everybody talks about, oh, we don't have affordable housing. But what I'm running into up there a lot in the last 3 months helping them is that people with some construction skills, maybe not real good ones, are buying up houses, quickly turning them, and then marking them up $300,000-$400,000 and putting them back on. So it really cuts out a young couple who would be willing to do some sweat labor and do it themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, I've always bought and sold the fixer-uppers, but I've stayed in them. Those are always my permanent or personal residence. But I think it does affect the marketplace, and it's like anything, whatever the market will bear, and there's always somebody that's willing to pay a certain price, and for quality or finishes or whatever it may be. But I agree. I think the affordability factor in Monterey County, especially Monterey Peninsula, is a big issue, and we really need to address it soon, because we can't just keep having the multimillionaires buy up everything and price our workers, our teachers, firemen, everybody out of the marketplace. So I think it is, and I think you're very active in that with the community, and I think we need to find more solutions.
Well, and I think having a lot of new housing stock come on in Marina and Seaside is going to help.
Right.
I do believe it will, because if you've got enough choice, then why wouldn't you choose something that's new
versus
something that's 50 years old and has a toilet in the kitchen, with the Hells Angels around the corner.
Exactly. Well, and that's one of the things that people do pay for: quality of life. It's the old saying, location is never more true. And especially, like I said, when people pull into Pacific Grove, they fall in love with the charm, the homes, the walk to the ocean, and they're willing to pay that premium. And that's just kind of how it is. And we're fortunate in that sense. And I always say, once you get into the market, you're fortunate, and then you're going to gain that appreciation. It's just biting the bullet and jumping in and writing that big check for a deposit, or sometimes cash.
That's right.
So, but everybody wants to live on the Monterey Peninsula.
And we're lucky we're here.
We are. We're very fortunate.
So what percent of your buyers have children and are affected by school test scores?
Actually, I don't have the exact figure, but recently, we've seen a huge influx in the Pacific Grove market, where the elementary schools are overcrowded, and that has just seen a big influx from out of area. And Silicon Valley workers, we'll say, not necessarily executives, but families that are looking for a better quality of life, and for what they get for $1 million here versus San Jose, Cupertino, or someplace, is a big difference. And then again, air quality and everything else. So we're seeing those markets change, and the same in the Monterey marketplace as well, where it's still affordable, and people are really considering entry-level properties there.
I also, and in my last few years in banking in particular, I saw a lot of companies that maybe do $1 million a year, and it's one person, and they're working out of a third bedroom or a second bedroom. A lot of them appeared to really love Pacific Grove because it was peaceful and quiet, or they liked a condo in Carmel. They liked the lifestyle, but they need to have a place. In the Monterey Regional Airport was, if they had clients out of the area, they could get in and out. But basically, they're on the phone or on their computer most of the time with their clients, whatever they do for a living for them. Or they fly to them once a month, and that's it.
Video conferencing, and I think that's the new economy. It's the new work world, and the new economy with online businesses, consulting, sales. Who knows what it could be? They may not be doing warehousing here, but they could have the warehouse in Toledo, and they're selling online. So it's the Amazon factor.
Yes. So along that line, do people actually ask about broadband speed and how important
They
that
do.
is to a lot of them?
Yeah, and one community I'm familiar with, that's a huge factor. It's a very desirable community, but the cabling is owned by a now defunct cable company that won't release it, and in order to wire it, it's over $1 million to wire the community. So they're looking at other sources over the air, and I think that's going to be the next wave of broadband is over the air and so forth, and disconnect.
So there's a rural broadband conference that just took place in
I saw
Monterey.
that. I missed that. Yeah.
And it's going to be important, I think, that people understand we have got to, as a community, come together and demand that we get better broadband because our children get further behind,
Yep.
and it impacts the cost of real estate, it
does.
impacts the schools, it impacts business.
Yeah,
So.
it really does. And we see everything we're doing now is online. And I use the analogy is that we can stage your house, we can do everything so that when they walk in the house, they fall in love with it. But it starts with good photography, a good marketing plan, and when people are driving by your house, looking at your property on their device, their phone or iPad, it either makes it or breaks it. And and in addition to that is the broadband, and they want a streaming video. They want to be able to pull up and see the streaming video and take the virtual tour. So
And it makes sense.
It does. It really does, and especially again, Silicon Valley, they're used to it. That's what they want, and that's what they need. So.
Yeah, we're all used to it.
Exactly.
I was buying tickets for something yesterday, and plane tickets, and then their website went down, and I was like, I had to start all over.
What an inconvenience.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, oh, are you kidding me?
I know. We're spoiled.
I don't have time for this. So what has Coldwell Banker done? What's new with Coldwell Banker that's just kind of innovative, or what you're doing?
Actually, something that's really exciting is our new Coldwell Banker Global Luxury brand. So we've actually started a new logo, our blue logo for 110 years. We still retain. And then we've started a new one. It's black and white with the title Global Luxury, which is what it is. And that's really meant to market our luxury properties in that $1.5 million in that price point. Whole different marketing approach. I call it the black tie effect, the black tie marketing, whereas it's very elegant, large formatted, high resolution photos on the website, in the print materials, and really just much more of a targeted, focused marketing approach rather than a shotgun approach, so to speak. So we're excited about it. We've got new signage that's just now going up, and marketing, a new website, ColdwellBankerLuxury.com, with about 30 agents that are qualified luxury agents. And what's interesting about it is that it's kind of taken the LinkedIn effect, whereas we've got our local luxury agents that are on the same website that can link up with other agents around the world. So if we have a potential buyer or seller that's looking to sell their property in Boston, they can get on the website and find somebody that's a good match and refer their client to an agent in the Boston market or someplace.
So that makes a lot of sense.
It really does, yeah. Rather than just shooting in the dark for somebody, or they don't have anybody in their neighborhood that they're working with, and we can find a good recommendation that's suited for their needs and their wants.
So I'm always fascinated by how many people here in our region have a house, let's say in Carmel, but they also have a house in King City.
Right.
Or they have a house in the Preserve, and they have a house on the beach in Aptos.
Right.
And so do you see quite a bit of that people want to be in the fog, but they want to be in the sunshine?
We do. And that's why we never use the word second home. They're vacation homes or multiple homes. And because people do want to they follow the weather. Just 2 weeks ago, I had one of the top agents from Coldwell Banker Lake Tahoe, Incline Village down, and because we have the same clients that have a place in Lake Tahoe, and then they have a place in Pebble Beach and Carmel or wherever, and they go with the weather, and it must be nice.
Yeah. can barely dust one house, let alone have three of them going.
Right, or keep up the yard.
So the airport is really interested in the Dallas market for a lot of reasons based on numbers that we have found. And it seems to me that, particularly in Carmel, maybe Pebble Beach, that there has been a huge influx of Texans from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, particularly over the last few years.
Exactly. Yeah, we love the Texans.
Yes. So we're going to try to give them a direct flight so that they have a commercial flight at least once a week to start and see what we can do.
Usually they come in initially on their private planes, and then if they have to commute back and forth, they'll take a commercial flight. But it's also a good hub for locals that are traveling to the East Coast, to bypass Denver or Chicago. And usually there's fewer weather delays through Dallas. So I think overall it's good for the community and good for tourism and the Texans.
Yes.
Come on down.
Well, I'll be wearing boots.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they love to escape the heat, and once they get here, they love the fog, and and they really do a lot for the economy and events. They love the Car Week and everything else that's going on. So
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
We like that. So what do you see kind of as what's going on in the future with real estate?
Well, let me dust off my crystal ball. Well, actually, I think real estate really goes lockstep with the stock market. We're seeing record gains in Silicon Valley, in tech stocks, industrial stocks, and so forth. If we can keep this up, I think we're going to have a good balance of the year. We're seeing prices really at a peak. We're actually at pre-recession prices now, and in some markets even a little above. So they use the word could be a little frothy. So hopefully it's not too frothy. But I think values tend to find their baseline when they're on the market, and if the market and the buyers are going to dictate what they're willing to pay, and if it's overpriced, you're going to know it. If you're not getting any showings or offers in the first 30 to 45 days, you're probably overpriced on the market, and they're going to tell you, not us. And that's really what it boils down to. Yeah,
I mean, buyers tell you with their feet, right?
Exactly.
They're either in it or they're not.
Exactly. And it's it can be a finicky market, but again, buyers are savvy. They've got information at their fingertips, and they look at everything. And we see people come in, walk in, and say, "No, thank you, I'll wait," and they're going to wait for the price to come down. So.
Yeah, and usually it does.
Yeah, it usually does.
Todd, thank you so much for joining us, and I'd like to maybe every few months have you back so that we can kind of talk about what's going on with the real estate market.
I'd love to.
And feel free to call me and say, hey, we should be talking about whatever it is, and
Great.
we'll do it.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. So Todd Porteous, Coldwell banker, 7 locations, 130 agents. Don't wait. Prices are going up. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a minute. This is Your Town. Thank you.